The camera on the Huawei P30 Pro is already intriguing, and it's about to get a lot more so. You might remember a couple of weeks back when I used the B-script to mount full-frame camera lenses onto the Galaxy S10. Well, today we are taking the P30 Pro to a whole new level. So to start with, pretty similar. We're using a DOF adapter to mount full-frame camera lenses onto our phone. But this time we're introducing the Beast Light, which is pretty tiny, but at the same time can pump out light up to 640 lux, and we're going to be interchanging this with the Rode Video Micro, which with the right adapter can plug into your phone and will address the P30 Pro's slightly wonky microphone quality. But we're not done yet. This is the DJI Ronin S. This is a camera rig meant to stabilize full-frame cameras, DSLRs, mirrorless cameras. And it works out quite nicely because this Beast Grip Pro cage we're using around our phone gives us the attachments we need to mount that on it. Now, to say the least, this setup looks crazy. You probably haven't seen anything like it on a smartphone. It took me about 3 hours to calibrate the Ronin, but after that, we were off. But where to? Well, Italy. You see, I was lucky enough to be invited by Formula E to the Rome E-Prix, which is basically fully electric cars racing around the actual streets of the city. So it was going to be the perfect opportunity to test what this rig was capable of. We also got around to doing some nighttime shooting in the heart of Rome, which was crazy exciting. But first, let's talk about what happened during the day. We turned up to the event, and this right here is filmed using AI color mode on the P30 Pro, and it is only in 1080p, but nonetheless a very cool, and now that we've got this rig, very stable effect. We can also now do tracking shots like this one in 4K resolution. So we're out here in Rome for the Formula E E-Prix. This is all being recorded on the Huawei P30 Pro, and we've got a bit of a drive of our own to do. So yeah, this was completely unexpected, kind of crazy. I got the opportunity to sit in a BMW i8 and do what they call a hot lap around the course. The actual course that the real drivers were going to be racing on. I took the rig, slightly nervous that it was going to end up through a window at some point, but it would be worth it. My driver wished me good luck, which is always a good sign, and then it just shot off. In terms of the footage I got, I'd say it was a pretty mixed result. You see, this Ronin S stabilizer is actually built to work at up to 75 kilometers an hour. The problem was that we were going at more than double that, so there were moments where it got some really stable footage when we were on a straight run, but then every time the car would turn it was just a little bit too much for the rig to handle. We then got given a garage tour, where we got to see the drivers getting ready, the teams doing practice runs, and we got a little too close to some of the cars. And what I didn't realize at the time was that the next thing I'd be heading to was probably the most terrifying part of the day. Formula E had set up gaming simulators, which pretty much recreated a real course one-to-one, and that's amazing, but what I didn't quite expect is that I would be racing in it, against the actual drivers in front of a live audience. Safe to say, I didn't exactly come first, but I promise it's harder than it looks. This was also a pretty good preview of our camera rig working in super low light. The only illumination on my face was really coming from that screen. Surreal would be the way to describe walking onto the grid, which is basically the start line of the race, literally 10 minutes before the whole thing kicks off. To call it hectic would be a massive understatement. The race then kicked off, and we caught a lot of the action at the Emotion Club, where there was quite a lot more happening. There were meats that had been aging for years. There were people cooking eggs inside ice cream cones, and there was even robots making coffee. We also tried stepping out and just watching the race live ourselves. The whole thing was wrapped up in less than an hour after it started, which is kind of crazy, and we stood near the podium whilst I was trying to focus this rig on the back of various people's heads. Having this camera lens allows you to pull focus from objects that are further away to objects that are closer. Alright, time to head out, where we managed to capture some of the best footage from this camera rig. We started at the Roman Colosseum, the historical heart of the city, and we got kinda lucky. It had just finished raining, the sky had cleared, and you could see these subtle red hues on the horizon. One of the things I was able to do is to just hold the camera rig and walk towards the Colosseum, and to create a walking time-lapse like this without a rig would be pretty much impossible. There'd be way too much movement. I also wanted to show you the Filmic Pro app I'm using for a lot of this, which has focus assist that highlights in green whatever is in focus at any point in time. Pretty tricky to actually capture the Colosseum itself, it's such a massive building, but I crouched down on one of the streets and caught loads of people passing in front. Quite a cool shot. You will notice that grain is starting to creep in, but still the stability is definitely keeping up. This is all handheld. The other thing you can do with a Ronin is a reveal shot. We walked over this bridge and kind of revealed the road below. It's not perfectly stable, not perfectly lit, but we're now getting to a lighting condition that even my main camera was struggling with. We waited for another half an hour till it was pretty much pitch black, and so at this point we're relying solely on that tiny little beast light we have attached to our rig. I'm impressed, especially when it comes to these super low lighting conditions, but the Huawei P30 Pro is a little bit let down by its lack of ability to record 4K video at 60 frames per second. That would have resulted in footage that you could slow down to a greater degree, meaning clips that look not just more cinematic, but also even more stabilized. Alright, so this day has been crazy, but at the same time a lot of fun. If you want to find out more about the sport, I'm going to leave links to the Formula E YouTube channel in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.